Hey y'all. So within the last 2 weeks, okay, migrant children in the custody of Customs and Border Protection in the last 2 weeks has tripled. Tripled. Okay. Not only that, we are now looking currently at the highest levels of children, migrant children in custody than any other time in history. Let's go ahead and take a look at this, and then we are going to talk about it. So this is according to CBS.
Now to some breaking news from the southern border. A record number of migrant children are in Border Patrol custody, and shelter beds are scarce, raising fears of a new crisis at the border. The growing number of unaccompanied minors has raised alarm bells in the Biden administration. We get more now from CBS's Maria Villarreal.
CBS News tonight has learned there are more than 3,200 unaccompanied migrant children in Customs and Border Protection custody, a total that has nearly tripled in the last 2 weeks. Government data obtained by CBS News also shows U.S. shelters received more than 7,000 migrant children last month, with another 1,500 new arrivals in the first 4 days of March alone, posing a huge challenge for the new Biden administration. This massive influx is further straining a system already near capacity. The government has been forced to reopen shelters for minors in places like Homestead, Florida, and Carrizo Springs, Texas. Homeland Security.
Not reopening all the shelters that we were being told were going to be closed during the Biden administration.
Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas and White House Domestic Policy Advisor Susan Rice were at the border over the weekend to survey facilities for minors. Among those held, 15-year-old Jacqueline, who was reunited with her mother Miriam in Los Angeles today after 3 weeks in a government facility. Her mother, who has a work permit, crossed into the U.S. more than 3 years ago. I'm very happy and emotional, she said, because I can finally have her with me, and I'm so thankful to God she's okay. Jacqueline told us she was cold while being held by Border Patrol with a blanket made of foil.
Not a foil blanket during the Biden administration.
Every day there were more and more kids that were coming to the border by themselves.
For now, these children are being held in facilities that are managed by Customs and Border Protection, but they are meant for adults. We know that several federal
not facilities meant for adults during the Joe Biden administration.
Agencies right now are working together on this issue. And late this afternoon, CBS News got a statement from the Office of Refugee and Resettlement that says, in part, they are looking at several options for long-term and short-term solutions that will help safely take care of these children.
So let's watch this one other clip, right? And then we're going to talk a little bit of this, and then we're going to talk a little bit about it.
Is unfolding on the U.S.-Mexico border. More than 3,200 new unaccompanied children hoping to enter the U.S. are now in federal custody. That's according to Customs and Border Protection documents that were obtained by CBS News. Now, cross-border activity usually gets busier this time of the year, but this large number of younger detainees is particularly noteworthy. Maria Villarreal has been following this story from the very beginning and joins us with the latest. Maria, this is very, very troubling what we're seeing.
Gail, it's exactly right. A former DHS official says the number of children currently in Border Patrol custody is the highest in the agency's history. Now, to put this in perspective, more than 1,500 new children arrived at the border in the first 4 days of March alone. Mr. Biden was vice president in 2014 when the U.S. saw a comparable surge of unaccompanied minors. Nearly 73,000 were taken into custody that year alone. That led to a network of government-supported shelters for minors like this one in Homestead, Florida.
Now, why I wanted to show a little bit of this clip as well is because 73,000 children, this was in 2014, Now you have the most obviously lenient administration who's going to be the most lenient on these border issues. Okay. Not only that, you have a president who is
that has now reopened a lot.
You have a president who is granting up to 11 million immigrants with amnesty. You have people at the border who you are basically rolling out a red carpet for. You have states within the country telling non-citizens that they can possibly receive things like health care and benefits due to COVID lockdowns. None of this is normal and none of this is okay. And I don't know how anybody could have ever thought anything different. When you sit here and roll out a red carpet for a segment of people, you make promises or you make certain concessions for people that are not even citizens. Only somebody that doesn't have a brain in their head would think that anything less than this would happen. First of all, what bothers me about the administration is because if you sit there complaining about the Trump administration for an entire 4 years to now project to the American people that you in fact did not have a plan for these things to occur. You in fact did not have a plan for the increasing number of children that will be crossing that border. Not only that, first of all, a lot of these facilities, a lot of the ways that the children were being held in these facilities, in fact, started under the Obama administration. I've previously done a video where I broke that down for you guys with the photos, the evidence from the media at that time, as well as other things, so that information is available. So to come down super hard on the Trump administration, when in fact you now have more children at the border, holding more children in these facilities than a Trump administration. And then some people are so zombied out that you don't even see that up until this particular reporting. But even still, you have a media that is trying to, do this hypocritical or biased reporting where when it was Trump, it was, oh, kids in cages, you know what I mean? But with Joe Biden, it's like migrant children facilities, sprinkle a little, sprinkle a little niceness, right? Or cuteness on it, or make it a little more warm. No, these are the same facilities. These are the same facilities reopening. So 70,000 children in 2014, that's not normal. You're going to see even more children now. And yeah, it just makes sense when you have a government that has handled this issue like we have. Also, people need to keep in mind, I saw some people saying, oh, well, it's different because these children are coming by themselves. They're not being split from their parents. Okay. First of all, the Biden administration has put in a rule where parents, or I should say adults at the border, can be turned around due to health issues, but that due to COVID, but that rule is not in place for children. So of course you're going to have more children being sent across the border, shipped across the border for that very reason, because a lot of these parents know that it's easier for the children to cross the border because it's not as many rules, you know, or caveats for the children. Also, another thing people need to either realize, research, or remember, I don't know which one it is for you, but there is a lot of human trafficking that goes on at the border. I've done content on this previously as well. There are thousands and thousands of children that are abused. These children are treated and used for slave labor, as well as the thousands and hundreds of thousands of children that are used as sex slaves. You have children that are kidnapped from their parents, from their families, and you have these criminals, you have these malicious, nefarious, evil people that kidnap these children and then have tried to use them to get into the border, because first of all, it's typically easier if you're with a child, and then once they get into the border, they will use that child to make capital. They will use that child for that slave labor and sexual favors. And so during the Trump administration, what they would do is they would actually separate the children and give the parents and the child DNA tests to confirm that this was in fact their parent before putting the child back with that parent. So that's the real reason. And during that time that they were separated, the children were still in the same facilities. And I'm sorry I get a little heated and flustered while speaking about this, y'all, but this is a real issue. This is a human trafficking and a human's rights issue. And when you have people like Joe Biden that come out and roll out the red carpet for immigrants and make it just seem like it's a free for all and just come on in, come as you are, you're going to absolutely have more people taking advantages of that. And yes, you're going to have some of those nefarious criminal people that also slip through the cracks of that. So this is an issue. And I'm surprised that our media is even halfway, at least even a little bit, telling us what's going on at the border. But we have a record number of children in the custody, highest number of children in the custody of Border Patrol, when you have an administration that ran on the platform that they were not going to allow children to be in the custody of Border Patrol. And so if this administration doesn't get this together, y'all can expect a lot more of this over the next 4 years. And that's not even me getting into, you know, how this even really impacts Americans, particularly when you have half a country that's practically out of work. I've talked about that in previous videos, so we won't even get into that aspect of it today. But those are my thoughts. Leave y'all thoughts below. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye.